My name's Ronnie, and I love to read. So I know, before I even tell you what this video is about, that my hair is just a frizzy, curly mess. We're gonna pretend it's not. So today, finally, I'm doing an actual book review, The Infernal Devices, and mainly Clockwork Princess. As you might know, I've been reading this for about a week, and it took me a while to get through 600 pages. My review for Mortal Instruments series, books 1 through 5, so that's City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, and City of Lost Souls. Those are the only 5 I've read. I haven't read City of Heavenly Fire yet because I wanted to read The Infernal Devices first because I heard there were spoilers and I didn't want any spoilers, and spoilers are bad, and no spoilers. My review of Mortal Instruments books 1 through 5 is, if you haven't read them, why not? Because they're so good. At least give them a chance. Read City of Bones. If you don't really like it, then you know what? You tried. You read some Cassie Clare. You've been experienced to her writing style. You are officially okay in my book. But if you've never even tried it out and you just say, that sounds stupid, I don't like fiction, I don't know how, I don't even know the insult for Mortal Instruments. It's amazing. But if you're like that, please read it. At least try it out. But I wanted to talk about The Infernal Devices, and I know, where's Clockwork Angel? I lent it to my cousin and I haven't gotten it back yet. But I read Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince a while ago, but I just finished Clockwork Princess. So if you have not read The Infernal Devices, here is a series overview. It's amazing. You should read it. It's about this girl named Tessa Gray who goes to London to meet her cousin, who goes to London to meet her brother Nate in the 1870s, I believe. So she goes to England to meet her brother after her aunt dies, and her brother sends her a ticket. He's like, come on to me and we will party up in London and have great times, and I have this amazing job and you should come hang with me in London, because now you have no family back in America. She was living in New York. Now you have no family, and come to London with me. So she does. But when she goes to the airport, when she goes to the boat dock, because she came over by steamship, she meets a surprise, and she discovers this power about herself, and she gets involved with the world of Shadowhunters and William Herondale and James Carstairs. So read it. Now I'm going to spoil the heck out of you. I have a lot of things to talk about. So if you haven't read this book and you don't want to be spoiled, get out. If you haven't read Clockwork Angel or Clockwork Prince, still get out, because all I'm talking about right now is Clockwork Princess. Okay, so it took me a pretty long time to get into this book. I think it was around page 200, exactly page 200, when I actually started getting into the book. 200 is when the Silent Brothers have just brought Josephine back to the Institute, and then the Automatons murder them all. And that's when Tessa gets captured. So I started taking notes. My first note was page 258. It says, Jem had always said it was a shame he didn't have a bit of musical talent, as his hands were made to span a piano. If you haven't read The Mortal Instruments yet, please mute, because I'm about to spoil you. And you can come back when I hold this up. Okay? Go away. Jace Herondale of the Mortal Instruments series, he plays the piano, and rather awesomely, I think, so connections. Alright, you're back now. There's this necklace that in the Mortal Instruments series, Isabel Lightwood has this red glowing pendant that pulses when there's a demon around. So here you see that Camille, who was Magnus Bane's girlfriend, had this necklace, gave it to Magnus, who gave it to Will, who gave it to his sister Cicely, or Cecily. I don't know how you say her name, I say Cicely. Who gave it to her sister Cicely, who seems interested in Gabriel Lightwood. So when I first found out about the necklace that Will had given it to Cicely, I was like, that's it. Gabriel and Cicely are getting married. And by the way, Gabriel and Cicely are super cute together. And also, Gideon and Sophie is actually relationship goals. So, another spoiler here for the Mortal Instruments. So, again, when I hold this up, please come back. I don't want to lose you. So, on this page, Magnus is talking to Gideon and Gabriel, who are both Lightwood children. And he goes, "A very magnanimous statement, Gideon," said Magnus. "I'm Gabriel." Magnus waved a hand. "All Lightwoods look the same to me." Which is funny because in the Mortal Instruments, he ends up dating Alec Lightwood. So I guess not all Lightwoods look the same to him, do they, Magnus? Okay, come back. Cicely and Gabriel are out in the shops trying to get the ingredients for Jem's cure. He goes, "Oh dear," said Cicely. "How decidedly unpleasant. Do you not wish to enter?" Gabriel turned to her. "I could go instead." And she says, "And leave me standing about on the cold pavement? How ungentlemanly. Certainly not." I just love how sassy Cicely is because you can tell that she's a Herondale. You can see the relation between her and Will. Page 278 is just a really awesome Gideon and Sophie moment that I really loved. When he's talking about her scar, they finally address the scar. And Gideon goes, "I see it," Gideon said in a low voice. "I'm not blind, and we are people of many scars. I see it, but it is not ugly. It is just another beautiful part of the most beautiful girl I have ever seen." How cute is that? It's so cute. So then, Jem finds out that Will is in love with Tessa. Jem is the best friend ever in the world. He finds out that Will is in love with his fiancée. And instead of getting mad and like freaking out like, "Dude, back off, I have dibs, we're engaged," he says, he's talking to Sophie. "I am glad. They will be able to take care of each other when I'm gone. Or at least I can hope for it." He says she does not love him, but surely she will come to love him in time. Will is easy to love, and he has given her his whole heart. I can see it. I hope she will not break it. That's just proof that Jem is awesome. And then Jem decides he does not want to live anymore. He says, "I made a decision. I made it when I told Will to go." He ducked his head and then looked up at Charlotte, his pale, blue-shadowed eyes fixed on her face as if willing her to understand. "I want it to stop," he said. "Sophie says everyone is still searching for a cure for me. I know I gave Will my permission, but I want everyone to cease looking now, Charlotte. It is over." And he just gives up on his life. It's rude. How dare you, Jem? My poor baby. Something even worse happens, if you can imagine something worse happening. Will and Jem are parabolic, but when Jem dies, Will's mark, which is on his heart, it hurts him. He says that it causes him pain. He says he never felt anything like this, even when Jem had been at his worst. Even when he'd been injured and Will had ached with sympathetic pain. The cord snapped. I think I cried. Page 414 is the best page in the books. Will and Tessa finally get together after 3 books of them loving each other. Tessa's asking him what she thinks will happen when Mortmain finds them. And he says, "He will surely kill me, but not you." And she says, "I want you to kiss me one time before I die." And they kiss, and then it's cute, and then everything's happy. At least for a few pages. So Tatiana's at this council meeting, right? Tatiana is Gabriel and Gideon's sister, who is convinced that Gabriel murdered her father, even after her father turned into a worm. So he kind of had to protect his friends and his girlfriend Cicely. So, I mean, he had to. He had to. But Tatiana is a little crazy, because her husband died in this battle, and she's convinced that it was Gabriel, and she's at the council trying to say things. She goes, "Consul is right about Charlotte Branwell," she exclaimed. "Charlotte Branwell and William Herondale are the reason my husband is dead." "Oh," it was the Inquisitor Whitelaw, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Who exactly killed your husband? Was it Will?" There was a murmur of astonishment. Tatiana was outraged. "It was not my father's fault." "On the contrary," interrupted the Inquisitor, "this was kept from public knowledge, Mrs. Blackthorne, but you forced my hand. We opened an investigation into the matter of your husband's death, and it was determined that your father was indeed at fault, most grievous fault. If it were not for the actions of your brothers and of William Herondale and Charlotte Branwell, among the others of the London Institute, the name of Lightwood would have been stricken from the Shadowhunter records, and you would be living the rest of your life as a friendless mundane. So go, Inquisitor, like, You work. You do you. Then, while the consul is, like, trying to, like, get his power and, like, get Charlotte booted out of the Institute, he gets killed. An automaton just decapitates him. And I know that I should have been like, oh my god, automatons in London, this is the worst. But, I mean, I was just so happy that Consul Wayland was freaking dead. And then, just when we have all just gotten over of Jem's death, maybe not exactly gotten over, but we've like, alright, Cassie Claire, I get it was, you wrote him to die, you wrote it in that he was gonna die, you prepared us for this, we've been cringing, waiting for Jem to die, all 3 books. He comes back as Brother Zachariah. Why you gotta give me the pain like that? So much pain. So much pain. But I'm glad that Jem's not dead. I mean, I was glad that Jem is not dead. So, I mean, I was glad that Jem was not dead. On page 460, Tessa, who is now, like, the most powerful character I've read about in the Mortal Instruments, or the Infernal Devices, ever, can change into an angel because of her Clockwork Angel necklace. It's amazing. She changes into the angel. She kills Mortmain. She just wipes out the automaton army. It's just, like, why can she do these things? I get that she's half Shadowhunter and half demon, which makes her like a warlock Shadowhunter with magical warlock Shadowhunter powers, but it's a little bit crazy. So then, when the battle's over, everything's going back to the Institute, they're all getting settled in. Tessa's like unconscious, like probably dying. Gabriel and Cicely are flirting it up, which is just fantastic. Gabriel's talking to Cicely, and he goes, "You seem to like that horse very much." Silently, he cursed himself. He remembered his father once saying that women, the gentler sex, like to be wooed with charming words and pithy phrases. He wasn't sure exactly what a pithy phrase was, but he was sure that "you seem to like that horse very much" was not one of them. I just thought that was really cute, because, like, he's trying to flirt. That's basically what just happened. He was trying to flirt. So, it was cute. And then, so throughout the entire book, Gabriel's been giving Cicely these, like, ratings on her Shadowhunter skills. So they finally kiss, and he says, and she goes, 5, she said. 5, he echoed blankly. "My rating," she said, and smiled at him. "Your skill and technique may perhaps require work, but the native talent is certainly there. What you will require is practice." Wink, wink, wink. "And you are willing to be my tutor?" And then she goes, "I should be very insulted if you choose another." So then, now that Tess is fully awake, and Gabriel and Cicely are together, and Gideon and Sophie are together, all that's left is Will and Tessa. And he's, like, taking her out on, like, walks in the park. They're talking about walks in the park. He's giving her, like, a tour of London. And Tessa reaches to grab his hand, and he immediately draws back. And she looks at him, she's like, "Is something wrong?" "No," he said too quickly. I did not bring you here that I might maul you in the Whispering Gallery." Tessa exploded. "I'm not asking you to maul me in the Whispering Gallery, but by the angel will. Would you stop being so polite?" He looked at her in amazement. "But wouldn't you rather?" "I would not rather. I don't want you to be polite. I want you to be Will." And everything's happy. Page 545. Everything's happy. I don't know why this was needed. I don't know why the epilogue was needed that takes place in 2008. I don't know why we needed to point out the fact that Will died eventually and Tessa lived forever. But there you have it. That's the Infernal Devices. Overall, I give the series a 98%. Only because the first 200 pages of this book were hard to get into, and I hate when it's hard to get into. So yeah, that's all for this one. Bye. That looks worse.